Right, good evening guys from Portsmouth International Port, where I've made the last minute decision to travel down here because Brittany Ferries are operating their flagship MV Pont-Aven between here and St-Malo in France. Now, it's been probably 10 years since I sailed on her last. It was a fantastic experience then. I hope it's going to be the same tonight. There's only one way to find out, isn't there? Come with me, I will see you on board.
Well, I'd arrived at the ferry terminal at 17:50 for this 2015 sailing this evening, and I'm glad I did because at the check-in desk here I was informed that foot passengers would commence boarding at 1800 hours, a good 2¼ hours before disembarkation. So, after one of the quickest intros I've ever filmed, I joined the queue of people eager to get on and start spending their money, and that's a good thing, isn't it, from the ferry company's point of view. It was very light touch security this evening, no bag scan. I didn't even have to walk through the metal detector thing. It was straight onto the waiting buses, of which there were 2, and I would estimate there were probably around 70 foot passengers to transport onto the ship this evening. And we drove onto the vehicle deck, deck 3, and I made my way up the stairs straight to the cabin number 6105. I'd splashed out on a 2-berth with a window tonight.
Alright guys, well hello from cabin 6105. Right at the front of the ship pretty much, deck 6 of course, and on the starboard side. I'll tell you what, tomorrow it has forecast nearly 50-mile-per-hour winds coming back into Portsmouth, so yeah, I'm not quite sure the position of my cabin is going to be conducive to a decent, comfortable sailing, but we'll see, won't we? Hopefully I won't be spending too much time in here tomorrow. But yeah, so here it is, and it is, well, what happened actually, I thought it was a 2-berth, but it must be a 1. No, it is a 2-berth, yeah. So this doesn't normally happen to me, but I've just come in here, and you've still got the sofa bed here, and so you can either make up the bed, which you could laugh at me trying to do this. It's a little bit like a kind of a rock and roll bed in a camper van, or maybe I could just, if I show you this, I could just pull this down here, which is the second, the top bunk, if you like, and as you can see, it's an outside 2-berth with a window. You can't really see much, but I'll give you more of an idea tomorrow morning, because obviously it's dark at the moment, and all you're getting is the reflection of the light. But yeah, what a classic ship, the Pont-Aven, and the cabin just says to me, okay, it's not the biggest cabin in the world, but it says to me there's some quality furnishings in it, fixtures and fittings, and it's fairly basic, isn't it? But you know, you've got your mirror here, and just the mirror, just the round mirror, and you know, there's a picture on the wall there, and just makes a little bit of a difference, doesn't it? And I think we've seen some of these on some of the newer E-Flexes that Brittany Ferries are operating at the moment. We have an European style plug socket there. There's no USB or anything like that. But yeah, there's a ladder for the top bunk there, and you can get an idea of where we are. Just here, that little red dot. There we are. So yeah, pretty much right at the front of the ship. Long mirror here while I'm standing here. I haven't looked at the bathroom yet, so here we go. And yeah, this is a fairly typical ferry bathroom, isn't it? Actually, it's a little bit better, I would say, than most. Got a decent sink here, liquid soap, hair and body wash, and a couple of paper cups there, and yeah, a typical shower unit. It's clean. That's the main thing, isn't it? Just back up here and take a look at this area of the cabin where we've got a little kind of lamp, and there's some controls which I will have some fun playing with in a little bit later program. So I do wonder whether there used to be a TV up there, but there isn't anymore. And we've got a thermostat there to control the temperature. So yeah, I'm kind of glad that this bottom bunk isn't made up, and I might just keep it in this configuration. Honestly, I'm quite tired now. Coming down here on the train today from it shouldn't take over 6 hours to get from Shrewsbury to Portsmouth, really, should it? But anyway, yeah, I'm starving. So plan of action for this evening, yes, it's dark, so can't really do much in terms of the outside deck space. We'll have a look at that tomorrow on the way back. But yeah, the plan is to go and get some dinner and then go and watch some entertainment, I think, and just chill out for the night. It's going to be a great crossing this. I'm really looking forward to it, so I shall see you in the restaurant in a bit.
Can I just say, with reference to my comment about the window, it is totally pointless getting an outside cabin at this time of year because ordinarily we leave in darkness and arrive in darkness. A pretty antisocial 06:35 in the morning British time or 7:35 French time. Anyway, there are plenty of deck plans dotted about the ship telling you where everything is. I will give you a comprehensive tour of all the different areas over the course of this video. But this evening we had a choice of either Le Flora, which is your kind of a la carte restaurant here, and they were offering a choice of the full menu or the buffet menu for 45 or 36 euros respectively. Or you could go for the self-service restaurant La Belle Angers, as I did, where the menu is the standard Brittany Ferries choice I've seen on a few ships now. You can grab a main course for €13.60 or select additional courses for a small supplement as detailed on the menu. The lighter options were mainly salads with some very tempting bottles of wine laid out on the ice here. The desserts looked appealing and there's a decent selection of drinks whether you're after alcohol or not.
Right guys, well, I am in the self-service restaurant tonight and I have gone for a glass of red wine. As you can see here, it is La Bière Ferme. And yeah, I've had this before actually, it's very nice. And to accompany that, just one main course for me tonight, which is the pork colombo, which is basically a pork dish with rice and mixed vegetables. I'm going to tuck in, I'll give you my verdict when I've finished.
Well, like me, most people chose to eat in here tonight. It's a large area that caters for many more people in the busy summer months, and I'll give you a better idea of the space tomorrow morning when it gets light.
Right then guys, well, that was a very nice, very flavoursome actually, and yeah, not bad value for money. I didn't think I have the receipt, which was €18.35, which converts at the time of this video into £16 and 11 pence. That includes the 185 cl glass of red wine that I have got and I'm still drinking.
Because we'd boarded so early, of course, I'd already finished my meal before we left port, so I had time to grab my coat and head out onto deck to watch us depart, leaving the bright lights of Portsmouth and the many interesting ships that were docked nearby. It's pretty cold tonight, there wasn't many of us out on deck, and yeah, I didn't hang around too much myself either.
Right guys, so we cast off, as they say, about 10 minutes early, and we are underway, reversing out and yeah, just spinning around and leaving the MV Salamanca behind, and now that looks quite a nice ferry actually. I wouldn't mind trying that. Let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see me do that. So yeah, Spinnaker Tower just over there to my left, and all the usual views you would expect from Portsmouth, but interestingly and differently for me I suppose, we're leaving in the dark, so there isn't a great deal to see. What I'm going to do is head inside, check out the bar, have a look at the entertainment options, and I will see you there.
On my way to the bar, I called by the two onboard cinemas on Deck 6. Showing tonight was Downton Abbey and Regretting You. Tickets were €9 for adults, €7.50 for kids, or €30 for a family. And also on Deck 6 we have the information desk, which was always manned when I went past. This is at the bottom of the atrium, where you will find, at this time of year, a lovely Christmas tree and a post box where you can send your present requests to Santa. And maybe if you've been really good this year, you'll get a monthly membership to my YouTube channel. Maybe. Anyway, let's head to the bar, the Grand Pouvoir, which is up on Deck 8. The main area here has a stage in the one corner and a sort of a booth for the compere stroke DJ. There's a large dance floor in front of the stage, and then it's mainly table seating with a large bar behind all that. Now this is a classic Brittany Ferries design, isn't it, with the colourful fabrics and detailing on the tables. And talking about classic touches, how about this, the piano from the ex-Brittany Ferries MV Bretagne. I believe it is destined for the MV St-Malo. Either way, it's great to see a little reminder of another one of the company's classic vessels. And also on the tables were drinks menus. I went for a glass of Sauvignon Saint-Brie for €6.50, and that I thought was okay, but yeah, then I had a bit of a wander up the grand staircase that leads to a kind of a balcony area on deck 9 overlooking the stage. And it was a bit quieter up here, but I soon went back downstairs, ordered my second drink of the night, and took my seat where I expectantly awaited tonight's extravaganza of entertainment.
Right guys, well, I'm in the bar, the only area on the ship tonight that's got some entertainment, but at least they've got some entertainment, or allegedly anyway. There's supposed to be the karaoke that started a quarter of an hour ago, but no sign of that yet, and then that's followed by a disco. So two things that are easy to put on, aren't they, with just like one compare, and that's all they have to employ in terms of the entertainment. So yeah, it's okay. I'm not overwhelmed by excitement, to be honest with you, but yeah, well, I'll stick it out for another 10-15 minutes. I've got with me a glass of Chardonnay, and I was a little bit hungry. Now it's 9:45 in the PM British time, and so I've just had a small packet of Pringles as well. Yeah, it's not bad, but we'll see how the night progresses. It looks like one of the French who are enjoying this much more than the British has stepped up to sing a song called Les Sardines, and the name of the guy is Fred. I will not subject you to this, but what I would say is give it 10 minutes and we'll see how we go from there.
Well, Fred was giving it his best shot, to be fair. At least he was having a go, like most people on here. And I gave it 2 minutes and I went back upstairs to calm down a bit. And I guess the only other entertainment really was in the Games Planet, which had a decent array of video games and an air hockey table. But like most of the ship, apart from Fred, it was very, very quiet. I had a quick look inside the reserved seat lounge on this deck where 1 or 2 people were sleeping, and I decided it was time to do the same myself. But I'll see you in the morning, where there was to be a very unexpected turn of events.
Good morning, everybody, from the MV Pont-Aven. It is 05:41 British time, 06:41 French time. Not a great time to be waking up and disembarking the ship in approximately 50 odd minutes time. But yeah, I thought I had some sleep. I'm not sure how much. It's funny, isn't it, though? You think you probably had less sleep than you actually have had. Yeah, I don't know where it gets light. It's dark at the moment, so we'll see how we go. But yeah, I'm going to start packing my stuff up, grab a shower, and it'll be time to disembark.
Yeah, although actually it wasn't. I walked down the lonely corridor again, all packed up, and I looked for a suitable place to sit and wait for further instructions. Unfortunately, the instructions for everybody on board weren't the ones we actually wanted to hear.
Right guys, well, drama. What happened? I woke up, normal time. The guy came on the PA and he was like, oh yeah, we're going to be docking in 30 minutes. Can you please vacate your cabins? You know, all the usual stuff that you get. So absolutely fine, packed up. Went out on deck and the ship was like heading away from port, and I thought that's a bit weird. And anyway, they've come back on to the public address system and told everybody that there's a problem with the engine. And because of the tidal range in St-Malo, and I think it's one of the highest tidal ranges in the world actually, we're not able to dock now until 11 o'clock, so that is 3.5 hours behind schedule. Oh dear. So I'm not sure how that affects me actually, because I'm on the sailing back, but looking on the plus side, the restaurants are going to remain open, so at least we'll be able to get some breakfast here rather than in St-Malo itself. But yeah, that's travel, isn't it, sometimes? So make the most of it, enjoy a few extra hours on board.
We must have been literally touching distance from the dock, but by the time it got light, we were miles out to sea. I mean, honestly, I've taken many flights over the years, but I never thought that my first go-around would be on a ferry. Anyway, I headed back inside to try out the alternative to the breakfast I thought I was going to get in St-Malo that morning.
Right guys, so we are back in the self-service restaurant with a full English breakfast I've gone for today, because I thought I'm going to be on the ship now for a while, so might as well get some food inside me. So yeah, doesn't look too bad actually. 2 eggs, a little bit short on the bacon and sausage in my opinion, but it's not too bad for €9, and I've got a coffee with that. So yeah, I'm going to dig in, let you know what I think when I finished.
It was a bit lukewarm if I'm being totally honest, but yeah, another empty plate, so everything fine. I went back outside for some fresh air, by which time we were beginning to head back into port.
Oh God. Right guys, we are just coming into St-Malo now. We were supposed to arrive at 07:35 this morning, French time. You can just see over my right shoulder a few of the islands just offshore. It is now 11:45, so we are approximately 4 hours and 10 minutes late at this point. I'm supposed to be on the sailing out. I have no idea when that's going to happen, although I have had a text message from Brittany Ferries saying that it was supposed to be at 13:30, but that's when they thought they were getting in at 11 o'clock. So who knows what's going on. So they did provide some free tea and coffee or bottled water. I think that's more because they had to rather than they wanted to. And the coffee's rubbish, by the way. But, you know, brave face on it, I'm not in any rush to go anywhere, so yeah, just enjoy getting in. As soon as I get in, I think I'm going to have to get straight back on again. But so much for looking around St-Malo, but I've seen it before. So let's see how we go.
Now, I don't know what depth the sea needs to be in order for the Pont-Aven to dock in St-Malo, but the tide was still rising. You couldn't see the rocks on this lighthouse on the way back out, for example. And one positive, the approach to St-Malo is much better in the daylight, with views to the old town walls above the beach in the distance here. And then we passed the Mur de Noir, the Black Pier, before entering the harbour itself. With DFDS's Levant jet in the background looking on, we turned around to creep stern first very, very slowly towards the dockside. It was a little bit windy. I'm not sure if that had anything to do with the manoeuvrability of the ship, but it did seem to shudder and shake quite a lot as we got closer. I had a great view of proceedings from one of the outside decks on the stern here. The lines were secured, and at last we'd made it, much to the relief of us passengers on board and the ones that had been waiting patiently at the terminal.
Alright guys, so we are finally here in St-Malo. I reckon it was about 12:20 in the PM that we finally docked. Yeah, a big shout out to Paul actually, who is a follower of the channel. I've met him on board today, and he's also a member of the Brittany Ferries fan group on Facebook, and a very knowledgeable guy, as are the members of that group, and I would definitely recommend you have a little look on there, because yeah, there's some speculation around why we were late today. Is it because Pont-Aven's running on 3 engines? Was there a bow thruster issue? It's definitely something to do with the tides. I don't know whether they're spring tides or not at the moment, but anyway, that was a factor in why we couldn't dock. But ultimately, we were well over 4 hours late arriving, and it's going to probably be similar on the way back. God knows what time I'm going to get to my hotel back in Portsmouth tonight, but at least I am staying in Portsmouth, and I'm going to get a train home or anything ridiculous like that. So yeah, and the other thing is, speaking to the very helpful Brittany Ferries staff at reception, they have allowed me to stay on board. There's no point in going all the way off and then checking in to come back on the ship. They're going to do all that for me, and they've also allowed me to keep the same cabin, so that's really helpful and very much appreciated. Thank you again for Brittany Ferries staff, who are actually fantastic on this ship. So yeah, it's time for lunch now, so I'm going to relax for a little bit if I can, and look forward to the sailing back whenever that may be. I'll keep you updated, and I'll see you later on.
Of course, being in port, there is still a lot going on board. Everything needs restocking and the cabins need cleaning. Like here, one of the Commodore cabins up on deck 8, and very nice it was too. Family sized with twin beds and a sofa bed, balcony space, tea, coffee, biscuits. I remember staying in one once many years ago and we were given macaroons, I seem to recall. I don't know if you can still get them. This is the Commodore Lounge on the same deck, deck 8, and it has great views over the stern and its own private sun decks on either side. I did ask if I could have a look at both these areas, and again Brittany Ferries staff were very happy for me to take a peek. Still on deck 8 we have the small spa room. There was a notice on the door stating that you could inquire at the perfume shop if you wanted any treatment, so I can only assume that it could have been open if you wanted something. Back down onto deck 7, and right at the front of the ship was this kind of family area where, according to Brittany Ferries, you can feast your eyes on the tantalising pastries, cakes, pizzas and sandwiches served at Le Café du Festival. But unfortunately the cafe itself was closed throughout the sailing. It was a bit of a shame, that I thought. The main bar menu advertised sandwiches, but you couldn't get one, and the other bar, the smaller Fastnet bar, was, again, closed. And whilst I fully appreciate that it was out of season, it would have been nice to have been able to get maybe a sandwich or a pastry, but all you had were the restaurants. But then I guess it's also reflected in the price you're paying for the crossing, which, as you would expect, is considerably lower out of season. And I'll go through what I paid a little bit later on, but yeah, there's a good sized children's play area, well located just off the family area here, which I was able to access whilst the ship was passenger free, so to speak. And I can imagine this being very popular in the summer. And talking about popular areas, I thought I'd take a look at probably the ship's main attraction, at least in the summer anyway. So I took one of the atrium lifts up to deck 9, where I headed for Le Finisterre's pool bar and the swimming pool. Now, I believe this area is normally open between May and September, so you are going to have to use your imagination a little bit here. But yeah, you've got the bar area here and poolside seating around wooden tables. The centrepiece is obviously the swimming pool, which had been drained at the time of my visit, but yeah, again, I've seen this in action in the summer with the water. It sloshes all over the place when you're travelling down to Spain, going through the Bay of Biscay, and yeah, it is absolutely rammed in peak season. It's lovely and warm up here too though, and with the big glass ceiling above, it's a great feature of the ship, and something you don't see very often on ferries in this specific part of the world. It was now time to head back outside where, as you can see, I had some good news to share with everyone.
Right guys, we are off heading back to Portsmouth. We departed St-Malo at 13:55, so we've had about an hour and a half turnaround in port, which is quite impressive really, isn't it, for a ship this size? Well, I don't think it's very busy. Anyway, captain's been on. He has said it's too early to really estimate a time of arrival into Portsmouth. I reckon it's going to be 9 o'clock by the time I'm off the ship, to be honest, but we'll see how we go anyway, and see what the weather's like as well. I'll give you an update a little bit later on, and I'll see you then.
If you're enjoying this video, I would really appreciate it if you could give me a thumbs up and maybe even subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. It's free to do so, you don't have to give your details or anything like that, just click on the subscribe button. It really does help the channel enormously. And there's also some kind of hype button these days apparently. If you could click that button, I think that also helps in terms of promoting the video. Anything like this is really appreciated guys, thank you so much. And before it gets too windy, let's have a look at the outside deck space. Well, at the top of the ship, above the bridge, we have this front viewing area where you're protected from the elements a bit with this screening here, and then there's bench seating behind that. There are a lot more plastic chairs available incidentally, but these were stored away at this time of year. And between the bow and the funnel you have the glass roof of the swimming pool and the atrium areas. Steps lead down to the port and starboard teal-clad sun decks on deck 9, and to the stern you have the large helipad area, a favourite for sun worshippers in the summer. There's also a designated pet exercise area here, as the kennels are up on deck 10 by the funnel. Another lovely section of teak decking at the stern on deck 7, and then we're down to deck 6, where you can complete a circuit of the ship, walking down either side, around the stern, and then back around the bow in this covered section here. The outside space on deck 6 is particularly useful when the weather's bad. but it wasn't too bad at the moment, and the ship, it did feel pretty stable overall. As I said earlier, my cabin was near the bow, but I felt very little movement during the crossing. I had a rest in there for a bit, and then I made my way to the stern of the ship and up the external stairs, all the way to the helipad on deck 9, where I strolled over to the balcony to admire the views. And I spent quite a bit of time wandering about outside on the way back, so yeah, enjoy the views with me, and I'll tell you a little bit about the ship as we make our way north. It was getting a little bit choppy as we passed Guernsey in the distance, and I decided to head back inside and have a look at some of the pictures and art pieces dotted about the ship. There's a lounge on deck 9 starboard side which is lovely to relax in and appreciate these installations, some of which are more quirky than others but fascinating nonetheless, and in my opinion this is one of the features that slightly sets Brittany Ferries apart from some of the other ferry operators, and they are noticeably proud of their heritage, not just Brittany itself but also the company and how the two are intrinsically linked. You will also find nautical charts, whale and dolphin identification posters, and of course I was able to find the shipbuilder's plate, which was located, well, I won't spoil it, maybe you can enjoy the challenge too. I went back to the atrium, the features of which were inspired by Silja Line's Serenade and Symphony ships. If you want to see my review of the former, there's a link on the screen now and at the end of this video. And last on my list of areas to see was the shop, or boutique as Brittany Ferries call it, which also incorporates the kiosk. It's located on deck 8 and houses the usual array of gifts, Brittany Ferries merchandise. We won one of these bears once on a sailing. Wines and spirits, perfumes, everything you would expect from a large shop which is suitably sized for the ship and the number of passengers she can carry. I looked at our progress on the GPS screen on deck 9 and hazarded a guess at the route back home. And then it was time to step outside once more as the light began to fade. So a couple of things to close off. Wi-Fi, well, you get 1 hour free per crossing and then it's paid access for the rest. It's not great in my experience. YouTube didn't load, other social media sites just about managed in the public areas. And as we sail on towards home, let's talk about the price. I paid just £63.50 for both crossings, and that included an outside 2-berth cabin on the way out. I wasn't on a mini cruise, but Brittany Ferries very kindly let me keep my cabin for the return leg, mainly because of all the delays I suspect, but you know, they didn't have to. and in my mind that is exceptional customer service, and it's a clear example of the crew going above and beyond to not just maintain guest satisfaction but also retain customers. Overall, I thought it was excellent value for money. We arrived into Portsmouth at around 21:15. A tug was deployed to assist due to the windy conditions, and there was a short wait for foot passengers as cars were cleared, and then we were escorted down to deck 3 where the shuttle bus reversed onto the ferry, and we were driven over to the terminal for the usual passport checks at the UK border.
Oh, God, finally, it's about 9:45, and I've just come out of the Portsmouth ferry terminal. I'm heading for the subway, which is going to take me under the road over to the bus stop, which will then take me to my hotel for the night in Portsmouth city centre. So give me half an hour, guys. When I get there, maybe I'll have a cheeky pint first, and then I'll be summarising the journey. I'll catch you in a bit.
The bus didn't take long to show up. Excellent bus service round here, by the way, and if you want to use public transport, there is absolutely no need for taxis to and from the city centre or railway station. I was pretty tired at this point, as you can see, but once at my hotel, I just took a couple of minutes to summarise the journey.
Right then, guys, finally at my hotel room. What a 24 hours plus that was. What did you think of Brittany Ferries MV Pont-Aven? Well, I learned a load during this trip, I can tell you, and including how to pronounce it correctly. I hope you noticed that. But do let me know in the comments below. Have you been on this ship? Would you try it after watching this? I've got to say, it is an absolutely classic ship, isn't it? The crew, absolutely fantastic. They actually, they're one of the biggest plus points really for the ship, I think. They take great pride in it. You can see that. You can see that they kind of feel like they belong to the ship, and they really enjoy sailing on it, as do us passengers. And I met one or two really great guys as I was travelling down to St-Malo and back over the last day or two. So a big shout out to them. Okay, not everything's open. You wouldn't expect it at this time of year. Could have done with one or two other things. Maybe the cafe bar could have been open. That would have given us a little bit more choice when it came to food and drink. Outdoor deck space, absolutely fantastic. Some lovely teak decks there as well, isn't there? And that makes such a difference. In my mind, it makes the Pont-Aven a little bit classier than most of the other ferries, and it's just little touches like that, and also things like the works of art, the paintings around the ship, and of course the swimming pool is something that not a lot of the ferries in this part of the world have got. But yeah, you wouldn't expect it to be open this time of year, but again, it's great in the summer, isn't it? The price I paid, well, that was pretty good really, wasn't it? Again, let me know what you thought of that. I think you can do it for cheap. You can do like mini cruises, and quite a few people that I spoke to today and yesterday were on a mini cruise. Getting into St-Malo, well, from what I can gather, the first issue that couldn't really do anything about was the tide, and I believe there was some kind of technical issue as well that may have been because it was only running on 3 engines, may have been bow thrusters, a combination of both, or something else. So there was a lot of discussion on one or two of the forum sites that I follow with regards to that. But again, if you know, then let me know in the comments section. Overall, yeah, it was great to get back on it, and I really enjoyed it. It's a long day, isn't it? And we actually got in about over 3 hours late in the end, but we got back safely considering the weather conditions as well. So yeah, overall, really enjoyed it. I hope you did too. Thank you very much for watching. Please catch me on another adventure. There's plenty coming up, including many more ferry journeys. So I'll see you on the next one real soon. And until then, guys, as always, cheers for now.